guess we have a public hearing first for special use permit for Gold Cross Ambulance Service. Brennan, real quick, just tell us what this is all about.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of council, members of the Plan Commission this evening. Wrong meeting. In your packet, we were having a special use permit, public hearing this evening for a special use permit for Gold Cross Ambulance. The property is currently zoned commercial, and within the commercial district, any type of ambulance garage does require a special use permit. The property has been a longstanding property there, and it was actually when the city adopted or revised their codes, was brought into partial conformance with the property. Because this is a complete tear down of the property, we felt it was best to redo the special use permit because this is a new building. The property is zone B3.
All right. So this public hearing is just to give people the opportunity to just tell us if they're in favor of the special use permit for this property, or if they're not in favor of that. And so we'll start with testimony in favor of the special use permit for this 500 Lakeside Parkway, which is being used by Gold Cross Ambulance Service. If you would like to give testimony in favor, just step up to the podium, give your name and address for the record, and limit your discussion to 3 minutes or less. Any testimony in favor? Seeing none, hearing none, testimony in opposition. Do we have any testimony in opposition of a special use permit for Gold Cross Ambulance Service at 500 Lakeside Parkway? All right, we declare this hearing closed at 5:18. I didn't take roll either. You did that though for us, right, Justin? Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and go right into the Planning Commission meeting then. I call this City Planning Commission meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, March 6, 2019, and it is 5:19 p.m. In attendance, Justin, again, you have attendance. It looks like just Commissioner Alan Keelan is not here. So we would need an approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Fair, second by Barrett, that we approve the agenda as printed. I guess there is a handout on your desk too that Brennan did put on your desk, which would be a part of your packet for tonight. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. We have some approval of some prior Planning Commission minutes. February 6th, we had the public hearing and also the meeting minutes, so we would need a motion to approve and place those on file.
Move to approve and place on file.
Second.
Motion by Olson, second by Fair, that we place these minutes on file, approve them and place them on file. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Action items. We have a special use permit for Gold Cross Ambulance Service at 500 Lakeside Parkway. I'll turn it right back to you, Brennan.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the Plan Commission. Both items underneath are for consideration. The first, we'll need two separate actions this evening. The first is the special use permit, which is just permitting the operation of ambulance garage on that site as identified within my packet. I mean, this has been a long-standing building on that site. I think our records go back to the 60s when this was actually originally built. The property did transfer hands in 2013 when it was sold to Gold Cross. And again, due to the nature and scope of the project, we advise it would be best to create or get a new special use permit for the current property. Do we want to go through the site plan, Mayor, or just deal with the special use first?
Yeah, let's just do the special use first, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. So what Brennan then is asking that we approve a special use permit for Gold Cross at that at that site.
You're making a recommendation to the common council for that.
Okay, it's a recommendation to council too.
So in the special use, we're basically just saying that they're going to remain at the same location, and obviously they're going to build a building, but their operation can remain where it is.
Correct.
I'll make a motion that we approve the location of Gold Cross.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Pat, second by Tracy, that we approve of the special use permit for Gold Cross on the same site at 500 Lakeside Parkway. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. All right, go ahead.
All right, the next action item up for consideration is approval of the site plan for the project. Within your packet, we identified this is a new building on the site. It is actually a reduction in the square footage that's out there right now. The new proposed building is approximately 2,500 square feet and will include two separated areas, one being the ambulance garage bay area, which will house currently one ambulance, but it is going to be built for two ambulances if ever a need arises in the future. And then the remaining portion of it is really just geared towards some bunk room, sleeping quarter space. There's a kitchen in there as well. I believe that they will be possibly doing some trainings there, whether that is going to be within the space or within an existing bay that they're proposing. We have been working with the applicant with the building department and the fire department. This does require a special variance for the building perspective because of the separation of uses. This property is not serviced by municipal sewer or water, so it currently does have private septic and private well that services this property. The building elevation, the conditions that are in the packet, a majority of them are the standard conditions that we take a look at when it comes to lighting and making sure that the lights do have cutoff provisions that don't shine onto the adjacent property. We are currently working through an engineering plan review. Our consultant engineer Strand has done a first round plan review and have provided comments back to the applicant for that. Again, working through the state and local building code perspective, I have not had any, or the architect has seen this executive summary. I believe Henry did have a follow-up conversation with Gold Cross just the other day, and it appears that everything is in line. They do not have any objections. We are waiting for a material board to clarify the colors and materials for that, but within your packet, you do see a proposed elevation that has a concrete block and brick facade. I believe they're planning to use a metal roof for that for the project. One thing that there are a couple things in the executive summary that still need to be determined is this is currently a nonprofit, so they do not pay taxes, and I believe the the community or council has looked at trying to get payment in lieu of taxes or pilot fees from nonprofits, so that still needs to be negotiated with the owner. There is an existing shed that they're seeking to keep on the property that is located in the corner adjacent to our park. On your site plan, if you look at it, actually does cross over the boundary, so they will need to work with the city on either relocating that so it brings it into conformance on their site, or work with the city to acquire some additional land to bring that back on, or bring that property back into conformance. Within that shed, they basically house all their maintenance equipment for their lawn and snow plowing and everything else, and they have requested that they are allowed to keep that shed on the property. Otherwise, the existing sign out there is located partially within the right-of-way, and they are proposing to remove that sign and relocate or construct a new sign on there as well. Otherwise, that's all I have. If there's any specific questions from the Planning Commission members.
Yeah, first question I have is in relation to the public utilities, sewer and water, sanitary sewer and water. How far away are those utilities from this location?
Quite a ways, Main Street,
Yeah,
High Street.
You're looking at right near Washington or right at the terminus of.
Uphill.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but the reason I ask is the proximity to Shadow Lake, having a drain field and an opportunity. It's not really an opportunity up the hill.
Yeah, they'd have to install a lift station in order to get it up to us, so.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
But following up on John's question is, when they build a new building, will they build a new drain field into, would that be part of the construction project?
They are currently proposing to maintain their existing well and their drain field. They will need one of the recommendations is they do need to confirm with Waupaca County that planning department that their current drain field is in compliance with DNR standards, and if there's are any modifications or requirements, they will need to update their drain field to accommodate that. There was a comment that did come from our engineering department regarding the location of their drain field to the proposed new building. It is pretty close, so there might be a need to move the building a little bit in order to accommodate if they are planning to use the existing drain field for that.
As far as you know, is that drain field about the same age as the building itself?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Pat.
So but the county's going to
The county handles all private septic systems.
Okay.
Then, yeah, one more just quick thing on the existing building to remain. There's two different scales shown on the different drawing. The existing plan, the building's much larger than what's shown on the proposed. And the proposed looks like it's being moved and brought to setback conformity. Is for an accessory structure, is that what we're looking at?
That was the one drawing was prepared before they actually did all the field verification work. So the actual survey that's in there, or I won't say survey, but the plot points and everything else that identified over the property, that is the accurate to date what's out there right now. I do not believe that they're looking to move it because I assume it's fixed to the ground and everything else. So I do believe the best option would be to negotiate with the city to acquire some additional land, and that would be at the expense of the property owner to go out there and actually get the property surveyed for that.
During the time of construction, Brennan, and maybe, I don't know if you can answer this, is there going to be any time at which service will be either moved and/or interrupted?
I believe the applicant's here this evening and hopefully can answer that for me.
Yes, we are.
You'll need to use a microphone, and please identify yourself for the record.
Steve Rodich, I'm the administrative director at Gold Cross Ambulance. Our intention is to stay on site while they're building with either a mobile home or an RV of some sort, because it's going to be during the summer that they're going to be building. So our intention is to stay on site, or if need be, we could go to the hospital if we had to, because we've talked to them as well about that as an option. But our intention is to stay on site.
And if everything moved along according to your plan, what kind of a date are you looking at for breaking ground, and about how long would that take for the
Well,
construction?
there's a lot of snow out there, so we're hoping to break ground in the spring. I'm not sure, do we have a date? Just April 1st? Okay, April 1st, I guess, is what we're looking at, and then hopefully it'll progress smoothly from there.
And approximately how long would the extended construction take?
3 months.
We do permit, that brings up a good question. We do permit temporary construction trailers during construction purposes, so that would be allowed on the site if they are going to use some form of a job trailer or something along those lines. That would be permitted during the construction, but would need to be removed when the project was completed.
I'm not really familiar with the driveway situation or the drive-in. Is that going to remain virtually the same?
Yep, they are still going to maintain 2 access points on Lakeside
Okay.
Parkway, not Highway K, as we've identified. We've got that clarified. What the driveway that I would say on your plan, that's the easternmost driveway.
Right.
It is a wider driveway out there right now. They are actually narrowing that down for us to a 24-foot access point, so there will be some new curb that will be put into there. But in general, the existing driveways locations are going to be in the same of where they are right now. Are you guys replacing all the blacktop out there? Is that
Yes.
okay?
And also on your diagram, you have your existing drain field. Will that stay pretty much the same location and same size approximately?
Yes, that was what we were hoping to do.
Any other questions?
The site plan does identify, they were proposing 2 stalls plus a handicap stall. We are requesting that they build the additional 5 stalls at the time that's being proposed because of shift changes and everything else that are going to be occurring on that site. So it would be a total of 8 stalls on that property.
Okay.
This is maybe a question for some of the members of the commission here on the council. We're going to make a recommendation to the council.
You're approving the site
We're
plan.
approving, okay. So where does the pilot fee concern come in, and when?
Henry?
I think we will, I think the condition in the report would say that gets hammered out before the occupancy permit, so we will work on that in the coming months. I did talk to Mark. He understands the nature of it. Given the cost of the overall cost of this project, it won't be daunting. We'll probably be in line with the Sunny Day pilot, which is $700-800 a year, something like that. And it's based on the value of the property, but also what our costs are for public safety, fire, police, and snow plowing. And we'll show you that calculation. He didn't seem too concerned on the phone, and then we'll work that out.
So if
Coming
and when
months.
we make a recommendation, it's with the idea that there will be a pilot fee, but we won't have a number.
You won't have to worry about that. I'll take that directly to the council.
Yeah, the site plan itself has nothing to do with the pilot plan.
Right.
So, and that's what we're talking about now.
Okay.
The special use permit we can hold that until we do agree to the
Yeah, well,
pilot.
but they both go together.
They do, yeah, you're right.
The one question I do have is, and Henry brought this up yesterday, I believe, when he spoke with Mark. Do you guys plan to do any training in this facility?
Well,
Or
because
what to extent that would be?
yeah, the EMRs, or the emergency medical responders, which are first responders, the Waupaca group, they come and they do their trainings or their meetings within that facility now. That's what we would like to continue to have happen.
Within the proposed space, right now you're currently proposing 2,500 square feet. Would that be in kind of the day room area? Is that where
You could do it in the day room, or you can do it, because it's a heated floor, we'll be able to do it in one of the bays as well.
Okay.
The bays are rather large.
Okay. And Henry, how many do we typically have for?
I think we have 4,
Would the-
maybe 5.
The first responders?
Yeah.
Yes, we have 4 currently, and there's 3, I believe, in training.
So if I was correct in listening, you have one ambulance that you're going to use your bay for, and the other one is basically vacant at this point in time?
Yeah, it's actually a wash bay, and then it's also going to be used because we'll float ambulances in that direction, and then they'll come into that bay and stay as long as they need to. So we'll have other vehicles in there. There'll be 2 at certain times of the day there.
Oh, there will be.
At times there could, yes, because we do float sometimes, and depending on call volume and demand, yes, strategically we have to plan that way and anticipate as well.
Right.
The hope is to have 2 there, Pat. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I guess I was surprised that there weren't already, to be quite honest, but, yeah.
John?
And then I'm assuming that having a wash bay, that's an additional load on the drain field and all that you guys are looking at that, and it will be confirmed
Yes.
sized appropriate. And then the other kind of spatial concern is that you're looking at stormwater management. Do you know where on the site you're proposing any stormwater?
It's less than 1 acre of disturbance.
So it's exempt?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Strand Engineering did do their first review of their grading and drainage plan, so there were a couple points that did come up
Okay.
regarding how the site was draining and
Yeah.
concerns about, I think, actually drainage off the road, so we will be handling that.
Yeah, again, if, in proximity to Shadow Lake, if we can reduce any non-point source pollution or anything like that, it's a great opportunity to do that, and I think that, I get it, the utilities are a long way away, but the stormwater management too, it's a good opportunity. So thanks.
So the recommendation here is.
We're
not-
approving it.
Approving doesn't go to council.
Right, correct. So I guess the big question always, when we do the site plan review is that you guys the Gold Cross is comfortable with the recommendation of Brennan's recommendation that's in the packet and everything?
The items that we've reviewed, yes, we'd say yes to
Okay.
that.
All right, and you've seen what we have in our packet, I'm guessing?
Yep, that was
Yes.
sent out last week. And
Yes.
again, Henry did have a conversation with Mark yesterday,
Okay,
Monday, sorry.
awesome.
Well, then I'll make a recommendation on the site plan review for Gold Cross Ambulance Service at 500 Lakeside Parkway be accepted.
Okay.
Motion for approval.
I'll second.
Motion by Fair, second by Kinnear, that we approve the site plan review for Gold Cross Ambulance Service at 500 Lakeside Parkway. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Glad to hear the snow will be gone by April 1st.
Thanks for that.
He's the second one that asked if the city can help in any manner to get the snow out of here, so.
Appreciate it, yeah.
Heaters.
Yeah, right. Okay, let's go on. We have rezone for John and Carol Piotr at Hillcrest Drive and West Fulton Street properties. And this has been tabled since 2015. Brennan, go ahead.
Nope. Thank you, Mayor, members of the Plan Commission. Please, I did provide an alternative memo this evening in your packet, so we should be referencing that memo. This is a follow-up action from actually a 2015 rezone. As many of you are aware, Mr. Piotr, I had a project that was actually approved. Actually, Justin was the agent for Mr. James Moyer at that time for the Anytime Fitness on that location, and unfortunately that site and project did not go through and everything else. But there was one outstanding issue that was still out there, and this actually dates back many years. Is there was split zoning on that property. We had a multitude of parcels out there, and the city worked with Mr. Piotr back in 2009, 2010 when Hillcrest was reconstructed, and there was a land transfer as well. And we were, at the time when we were doing the rezone and special use permitting for the former Anytime Fitness and Oncology and Hematology Center, we had to do a special use. We're trying to bring the property in conformance for zoning purposes. Because of that application not going forward, Mr. Piotr at that time did request to table it, the rezone, and it has not been brought back forward to the Plan Commission. More recently, Mr. Piotr did sell his office building to a private landowner, but still retains the property in and around his existing office building, and that resurfaced because of that land transfer. There were some lot lines that were moved and not created, but they were expanded. So it did bring back the request that we do need to clean up the rezone. My previous memo that you guys received was in there. There were some concerns that Mr. Piotr did bring forward to us. Our internal design review team did meet yesterday along with Mayor Brian Smith and to address any concerns with Mr. Piotr, and that's what you have in front of you this evening is the revised memo. We are recommending that the Plan Commission approve this rezone petition and move it to the Common Council with the recommendation that the existing pylon signs that are out there are to be utilized for sale purposes only. And at the time that the property transfers, the new property owners will be aware to tear down or remove those signs or bring them into compliance.
So the big question, of course, was, and it was then and it still is what about the consignment issue?
At this time, the consignment lot was granted approval by the city and will be maintained at this time. Because of the city's comprehensive zoning rewrite, we will be bringing, that is one of the items that we are going to be taking a look at and probably bringing clarification to that in the future, regarding consignment lots within the city.
So when you say you're bringing that forth, at how long into the future are you thinking of bringing that forward?
We are reviewing consignment lots and that type of use within the city's zoning rewrite right now.
Does Mr. Piattar know that, so that it might change the existing usage of that parcel B there?
Mr. Piotr is aware and has been, as part of this approval, again, granted to continue to maintain that consignment lot as it is right now.
Okay.
Pat, we hope, I think, to have the zoning rewrite done in a year, maybe? Within a year?
Yeah, but roughly by the end of the year.
Well, the anticipation of the consignment lot is that as long as he owns that lot, he will be able to continue to use it as a consignment lot. So the rezone, what we're doing there is going to be for future use, but again, his current use, and he's gotten permission to have the consignment lot, and it would be detrimental to his income if he did not have the ability to still have that consignment lot there. So,
Well, I understand that, and I'm not opposed to a consignment lot per se, but I'm glad we're looking into it because at times over the last year, it's been a little bit of a free-for-all. And so consequently, it'd be nice to know and define what that actually means.
There are a lot of things, as you guys have seen, as we've started to show, that have not been identified within the zoning code that we will be taking a look at for uses within the city, and that is one of them that we'll be taking a closer look at.
Right. Because there have been some complaints over the years that I've heard from people about that use of that property on that location. So,
oh yeah. Yeah, don't disagree. Okay.
what is that, what kind of a recommendation are we looking for here?
You're making a recommendation to the Common Council to approve the rezone petition. With the rezone is the majority of the parcels are going to be B4. The corner parcel that was created is B3, due to, again, to the size limitations, and the setbacks are a little bit lesser in B3.
You mean by corner?
Yes.
Parcel B.
Parcel B, yes. Thank you, Henry.
Okay, so we would be, if you are in favor of this, you'd be in favor of recommending to council the rezoning of these two parcels that Mr. Piotr still owns on Hillcrest and Fulton Street. Do you hear a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Motion by Olson,
Second.
second by Kinnear, that we approve the rezone of these two sites, or two lots on West Fulton Street. Mr. Piotr is the owner of those properties. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Okay, and Brennan, I think the next one we are tabling, is that right?
The next application has actually been withdrawn.
Okay. So it's being withdrawn, it's not even being tabled?
Correct.
Okay. That's that one for the fitness training center on Wisconsin Street. I guess it didn't work out, so they're looking at other opportunities.
The people that were interested in the property are no longer pursuing the purchase of it, so they've withdrawn their application, so.
Yeah.
We are.
I'm sorry, that building is presently up for sale, is that?
It is. I mean, it's still being utilized as a taekwondo facility. There's no change in there at this point. There is an individual that is looking to, actually that was here. He is was a former owner of the Fire Fitness, looking to establish a new business within the city. And after this withdrawal, have pointed him towards a couple of different properties that may be suitable for this.
Okay. Let's go on. Before we go on, Eric and everybody else, but I have to leave at about 5 to 6, so Eric, if you would just take over for me when that happens. Appreciate that. Okay, let's go on to the April Planning Commission meeting.
This is just, Mayor, because of the council having to move that meeting. Right now, I just wanted to make sure, we're still going to have it at 5:15. I don't have, we might have one agenda item. I just
Okay.
wanted to confirm that we were still going to have that meeting at that time ahead of the council meeting.
This is because of the voting day
Yeah.
issue?
Yep.
So It shouldn't affect us. From planning commission standpoint, we're going to have a meeting at 5:15, and then city council normally starts at 6 o'clock, but council just won't start until planning commission's finished. You guys are okay with that, I'm assuming, right?
The other option was the possibility of maybe moving it up 15 minutes if we needed to. That's the only reason why I put it on the agenda as well, if that was the case.
Well, that would be okay. Oftentimes, we have public hearings, 15 minutes.
I just don't know everyone's work schedule, so that's the only reason why.
Well, I have to walk a block and a half to get here, so 5 o'clock's probably okay for me. Yeah, so,
Justin,
Aye.
Henry, can you walk downstairs?
yeah, we're good. So that's probably a good idea to do it 5 o'clock.
Either way, or
Yeah, I mean, unless you think the agenda's short.
at this time, I don't think I think we have one application right now for the April meeting.
So leave it at 5:15 unless you
Okay.
you think you need additional time.
Okay. That sounds great. Thank you.
Zoning code rewrite update?
Yep, I just want to kind of, we're definitely diligently working through that right now. We are currently preparing for the April community conversation number 2. We're also working in partnership with the library and the exhibit. Actually working with John Kinnear's wife currently for the exhibit. We are going to be doing a past, present, and future presentation of Waupaca. And as part of that, we're going to be seeking guidance and information from the public. So there's going to be a couple different things that are going to be going on for that. So I know that the library exhibit coordinator is working on about 3 or 4 different events. There's going to be different things going on that are going to be kid friendly, but also hopefully get families and adults in there as well. So we are going to have kind of a model of Main Street that's going to be downstairs, and this is going to be more the kid interactive, where they kind of get to design their own little shoebox space behind Main Street. Our portion of it, for the zoning code update, where we're going to be seeking public input, is going to be a multitude of kind of image preference surveys. And that's what I provided to you guys this evening. It's just an example or sample of what we're going to have. We're going to have about 5 or 6 different boards that are out there identifying the process. Going to be also looking at just gaining or getting input about different districts, different types of, I would say, design guidelines or different strategies for that. We're trying to do some neighborhood character studies as part of this as well. So it's going to be very interactive, where people, it's going to be spelled out, but it's going to be, people are going to be able to have the opportunity to go in there when the exhibit is open and participate. The exhibit also is going to have some of our Main Street stuff that we've worked on, our riverfront projects that we've worked on as well. So looking forward to getting that input. So I just want to, that's what we're heavily working on right now, working with East Central to prepare some of those documents as well. Otherwise, come April, you guys will, for the first planning commission meeting, we'll start getting pretty inundated with a bunch of the sections of I'll say the front end specs, or the I won't say non-essential, non-design items. So again, the approval process, we've been working or looking at different types of zoning codes and how we can help streamline some of the process a little bit, maybe look at doing more of a major minor type of approval process, looking at the different types of uses and how we can maybe streamline some of our special use permitting processes within the community. So definitely a bunch of changes that will be coming here for you guys to start taking a look at within the next month. But that exhibit is going to be opening April 6th, and then we are looking at having a community conversation meeting middle to near the end of April for that. So, and we'll utilize the exhibit as well for that.
So April 6th will be
That-
right after our meeting in April.
Correct. So I'll have a little bit better update for you guys on that exhibit. That is the Saturday. That's, again, the library is really controlling that exhibit. We're being a part of it. And again, the sample image preference survey that I gave you guys this evening is just one of the example boards that we'll be taking a look at for getting public input as part of this process.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad it's building off the master planning process too,
Yep.
and not, people wonder, if you don't, what did we master plan downtown for? So that
Yeah.
marks.
Yeah, we're definitely working again. I mean, the zoning code is definitely a piece of it. It's comprehensive for the entire city. But again, it is also, when it talks about, our downtown plan did identify a need to update the zoning code as well, especially our downtown and stuff like that. So we're really gaining input about, the look and feel. I mean, that's really what we're trying to get to at this point. That's only going to help us identify, any type of design guidelines that we need to look at or incorporate into different districts or different areas of the zoning code moving forward. Because I know that's been one of the things that the Plan Commission has talked about. So, it's going to go anywhere from downtown development to, small commercial, neighborhood commercial like Churchill Street to, mid box, big box along Fulton Street, and we'll even have some ideas in there for in the industrial park as well. So going to be pretty interactive on that.
All right.
And then the building permit report is in the pack. We had a pretty good month for development. We're definitely still, I think, as everyone's hoping, once the snow melts, we're going to be pretty busy here. So I know I just heard from the apartment contractors today. They're asking if we can melt the snow as quickly as possible. Our assessors had a little bit of a challenge trying to find the site after January. But building permit wise, we're doing pretty well. Just to inform the Plan Commission, it was identified last night during the Common Council meeting. The Bank First did purchase the former Verna's property, and they do intend to tear that down in April. So we'll be working with the bank hopefully to identify, the possibility of utilizing some of that space for a green space of some sort. But
Two properties that we always seem to ask a question about, Cherney Building, anything?
Cherney Building is that's an interesting question to ask, Pat. We were going down the road, working with actually the property owner. There's a lot of legal things behind that I'm not going to get into, but we were under the understanding it was moving forward, actually, that the possibility they had submitted for a demo permit, but there's still some legal issues to be figured out. We believe it went to a bank sale about a week ago and is currently going through that process. We're not sure whether or not that sale is going to go through or not, but we're still monitoring it. I will say that the property owner has been very, once he kind of got control of the property back, the current one, we have been working with them to secure that property because we were receiving multiple police complaints and everything else for that property. So I do appreciate the willingness of the current owner to actually, or we had a contact with to actually button up the property because we did receive a lot of complaints on that. Yep.
And the other property is Old St. Mary Magdalene. Anything going on there?
We are still working through that process as well. We, again, we did have an RFP for that process last year, as you were aware, and we're currently, trying to get I won't say a better handle, but we're trying to work with the two developers on that did submit whether or not they want to continue to proceed forward or not. But we also do have, the third proposal with Nino that we're working through as well, who currently holds the title to it. I do believe that we will see some advancement of that in the next couple months. If you have anyone else interested, please let us know, though.
Keep going.
That's it. I think
That's
we can
it?
get you out of here on time.
That's it?
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Geez, sorry, guys.
Second.
Yeah.
Motion. I
It's
second.
all about me, right?
Let's go.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. Motion by Kinnear, second by Fair, that we adjourn our City Planning Commission meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. We are adjourned at 5:54 p.m.